Alrighty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Chupacabra's Lair. I am your host, Larry the Chupacabra, and we're back for some more War Thunder showcasing here today. And today we're taking a look at a favorite of a great many people. It is a demon upon the battlefield, it is a tormentor of souls, and it is a lobber of derp. It is the King of Derpitude, as I am told by people who enjoy such a creation. And we're going to be checking out the KV2 today. And what in the whole heckin' wide world is a KV2? Well, at some point during the war, Russia was having a hell of a time dealing with Germany, murdering them with panzers. So they came out with these spicy little devils, these heavy tanks, these well-armored machines. And they said to themselves, you know what we also have to deal with? Hitler and his cronies, they have a tendency of rather enjoying bunkers, especially made out of concrete. So it would be nice if we had some sort of massive murder weapon to blow apart these concrete structures in hardpoints so that our soldiers didn't get murdered. And so the KV2 was born. They stuck a barn on top of a KV1 tank. They made it as tall as the Eiffel Tower. And then they put a gigantic honking 152mm gun in it. And at some point during the war, a single KV2 held off an entire panzer division guarding a bridge and was only gave up on the bridge. And, well, I think it was a bridge. Only gave up after it ran out of ammunition. So that's pretty frickin' spicy of a tank. So we're gonna check this sucker out today and see what it's all about. Alrighty, here we are inside of Berlin. It's been murdered, it's on fire, we're fighting over, I'm not really sure what we're fighting over, and we're going to hop inside of our delectable KV2 and start shooting gigantic shells the size of your friggin' head. So, you usually start out with these lovely anti-concrete shells, but I personally prefer the 152mm murder devices that they call armor-penetrating capped explosive rounds. And the one thing I can say is, despite my preference for such delicious murder, the primary weapon that makes the KV2 and my KV2 brethren over here the Lord of Derp Sauce is the fact that because of the absolute horrendous size of these gigantic shells, these 152mm world destroyers, you really don't even need to use an armor-penetrating shell. If you're good with your shots, and you know your tank anatomy and trial and error to a certain respect, you can pretty much shoot an enemy tank wherever the heck you want, and they will just explode. Because of the force of the blast of a gigantic high-explosive shell from this sucker, you can pretty much shoot people wherever, and the shrapnel, the force of such a large shell, will simply ricochet down into the cabin and kill everyone, rendering the tank inoperable. Usually, I don't know how often that would have been... Oh, hi. We got a customer already. I don't know how often that would have been a good idea. Obviously, I missed that guy there. But that was a definite way that these tanks were utilized during the war, was shooting at targets, but I'm not sure how often it would have been a high explosive round. I think probably would have used, and we killed that M18 the other KV2 did. They probably would have normally fired a concrete penetrating shell at the enemy, or probably one of these gigantic honking armor penetrating rounds. It seems like a pretty smart bet to me, because high explosive rounds primarily used for killing people that aren't inside of a heavily armored vehicle. Don't worry, Greed Kitty, I'm here for you. Don't worry, my little Lipchen. Where is he? I will murder him. Show him to me. I want to touch his pud. Make him dead. My teammate, my, squad... Oh, there he is. There you are, you sexy devil. Let me murder your face. Oh, you missed the important part of me. Now you're dead. Now you're frickin' dead. And that's why I love this vehicle. Because you can make people explode And, my loader's dead, but that's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I didn't need a loader anyway. Okay, people are shooting at me. Let's back it up a little bit. Let's see. So they're gonna come in front of the Reichstag, try and murder us, and we're going to try and play peekaboo inside of these buildings. So what you just saw there is the absolutely ridiculous power that is the Derpopotamus 5000, the Derp Mark 1. And, you know what? Really what's happening here is you're seeing me shooting a shell the size of a corgi. I mean, not really, but basically the size of a dog at people, and watch them explode. Which is pretty frickin' ridiculously cool. I mean, the closest comparison, if you really look at the size of the shell as it penetrates pretty much any of these tanks, is like hucking a rock through a sheet of aluminum foil, and then, like, it explodes after it goes through the aluminum foil, permanently scarring and mutilating the small child that you played with when you were a child. Because that's the only time I could think of where throwing rocks through aluminum foil does anything besides send you to the loony bin. So, I mean, there's that. Now, obviously, there's a huge drawback to playing the Lord of Derpopotamus, Lord Derp Saucington V, and that is, quite simply, it's got a reload time that is the rival of, like, ancient Egypt. Let's be completely honest here. It takes me like 30 seconds to reload this thing, and with a shell that fires a projectile diameter of, like, bigger than your head, I guess I can understand where that becomes an issue. I mean, I'm sure that's pretty frickin' heavy, and at this time in the war, it would have been mostly just people manning these suckers. So we'll just destroy that M4A3 with the power of derp sauce. Got some more M18s rolling up on us. I don't want to get shot in the cooch. So we're just going to play it safe and back up a little bit, and hope that our comrades can deal with that. The good news about the M18s, if you're fighting them with this guy, even though I really don't like the HE rounds, is you just shoot the front of them. Those things are basically made of plastic as far as the KV2 is concerned. Those things are little toys. Pretty much all the American tank destroyers inside of War Thunder right now, pretty murderable. The only thing that they really have going for them over any of the other tanks is the fact that they are what they are. They're fast, they're mobile, they can flank around the case-made tank destroyers that are used by Russia and Germany, and we can't turn fast enough to kill them. I mean, even this thing's traverse rate is absolutely awful. It's just sickly awful. So if you don't play it sneaky, and you don't play it snaky and suspicious and evil, you're gonna have a heck of a time keeping this puppy alive, because I'm the size of frickin' Eiffel Tower. Compared to everything else, like, I'm almost twice as tall as this Panzerkampfwagen 4 behind me. I mean, there is no missing me. And one good shot from, like, a Tiger or a tank destroyer of your choosing, and I'm done. I'm down for the count. This thing is not exactly spaced very well. Like, it's a big box. It's a refrigerator on top of a tank. It's like a barn, a refrigerator, a house on top of a tank with a big gun in it. It's not meant to be fighting close quarters with big honkin' tanks that can penetrate its hull. It's primarily designed so that it can ride up to hard points, as they're called, and destroy them. Destroy bunkers, destroy emplacements, all sorts of stuff. So, we have a problem. This is getting capped, and we are the last person alive near this cap point. I don't know who is capping this cap point. I could certainly do with some assistance figuring that out from our Panzer buddy behind me. I'm going to try and snake around and murder whoever this is. What do we got? We got the head of somebody who's dead. So that's all I need to know. I also don't like that particular tank that I just murdered. So there's that. What do we got? I need some backup to help me cap, but I don't dare roll up there until I've reloaded. And my panzer buddy, Mr. Distal Phalanx, need to man up, Phalanx. Gotta do this for the fatherland, Mother Russia, even though we were enemies during the war. I believe in you. Barry believes in the power of your panzer. You can do it. I don't think you'd get murdered instantly. Alright, now it's time. Moment of glory. Now or never, murder all the people. Who's over here? Or is this just getting auto-capped because there's no one on it? I could believe that, but I could swear that there's a person in here. Alright, so our big threat right now is that someone across the way from us at, like, A is going to make us explode. Because you can bounce quite a few shots off the front of the KV2. I can safely say that I feel pretty safe doing so. However, again, pretty good chance that if anything meaningful like a tank destroyer, an M10, an M18, an M36, because we are a tier 3 monstrosity, if any of that sees us, we are probably going to be dead. Especially considering that one already grazed us earlier and killed 2 of our crew. Yeah, we've got a dead driver and a dead loader. Not a good situation to be in if you're Russian. Especially when I have a very well upgraded loader who's dead, which would have drastically improved the time it took me to reload my tank. Oh, there it is. Got shot from the side. Where are you? I don't even see you. That's a problem. Yep, that's what I figured would happen. Alrighty, so here is the big monster of a KV2. So I suppose the best way to understand a KV2 is to take a look at what it's built from. The KV2 is built from a KV1, which is a heavily armored monster, or at least it was when it was debuted on the battlefield, and it featured 75 millimeters of homogeneous armor, 40 millimeters on the roof, 30 millimeters on the main cabin roof, and all around 75 millimeters of thickness on all of its outside plating, but only 60 millimeters on this back little bumper here. So that's not terrible, and it's got a pretty low profile, although it is kind of still a big old honkin' tank if you look at it. I mean, they're full of people. There's like 5 people in here. It's a big vehicle, but it's not nearly as big as its big brother, the KV2. So what has the KV2 got going for it? It's got the same thickness of armor. So we've got 40 millimeters of roof, 30, 40, and for the most part, you're not really going to worry about stuff hitting you on the roof, or if you do, it's from a bomber, and you're dead anyway. So nothing to worry about there. And it's got the 75 millimeters of thickness, it's got 90 in the front here on this rolling mantlet, it's got this gigantic mechanism that houses the gun breech, and that's protected by 90 millimeters. But it's basically one big flat surface from the shoulder up. You're not really going to bounce anything. All of these flat surfaces here are going to just be huge liabilities for penetration. And when you turn it into a gigantic warehouse bunker on the top housing the gun, pretty much any rigid shell, any sabot rounds from a tank destroyer of any variety, or even probably just a regular penetrating explosive round from a high-caliber gun is going to absolutely obliterate you. Alright, but yeah, so when you go inside of this sucker, it's pretty close quarters in there. It's got the 2 loaders, and they're really squished together. You've got the gunner, you've got the commander, and for the most part, if anything shoots through here, if you have any large number of shells, any large variety of shells, you're gonna explode. Definitely at least 2 to 3 of these guys up here are gonna get knocked out. If you shoot it from the front, at least 2 are gonna get knocked out. And if you shoot it through the side where these fuel tanks are, it's just gonna go up like a firecracker. So if you're fighting in this thing, you've really gotta be sneaky and try to hide behind stuff, and definitely pull back while you're reloading. It's a fun tank to play with. It's pretty derpy. you're definitely going to kill people, but it's slow, it's lumbering, KV1s aren't known for their speed, so if you get cornered, you're pretty much toast. So I hope you guys enjoy this little video showcasing the KV2. It's a lot of fun to play. I've played something like 20-some matches with it. I've probably won the vast majority of them, except for the maps that are primarily open terrain, because this is not a long-range vehicle. This is kind of like a mid-range vehicle, because your accuracy with such a short barrel is going to fall off pretty dramatically at range. For anything else, you'd probably want one of the crazy Russian tank destroyers, and a lot of these guys, like the Su-152, for example, they've basically got that same gun, but with a much longer cannon breech, and these guys, I'm sure, can lob a high explosive that can just ruin your day, and there is like no sloping on this guy, so don't get shot. So, I've been your host, Larry the Chupacabra. Don't forget to like and subscribe, everybody, if you've enjoyed this series and you want to see more. Maybe suggest a tank you'd like to see. Some tanks I'd probably just skip over on occasion, like a lot of these early tanks are kind of fun, but I don't really care for them one way or the other. So let me know. And until next time, have a good one, everybody, and toodaloo!